Hey guys, this is DFD, aka Dark Frozen Depths, back with another Kamihime project event discussion. And as I said in the previous video before, I'm going to pretty much be doing these strictly off the JP Wiki because I've had some issues with the Kamihime forum. So there's more details on that in the previous video if you haven't seen it, but I'm not going to really go over it too much. And nothing against the person that did the threads on the Kamihime project forum, but like I said, I'm not going back there. But anyways, this upcoming event, it's going to be a darkness one, so my light team's going to have a field day on this. But there's some decent stuff from what I can tell that's with this. Not just the event itself, but for anybody using the light team, it's said that SSR Artemis is supposed to be coming in this event, and she is a very, very strong light Kamihime. I'm honestly tempted to pull for her, but my team's pretty solid without her, so I don't know just yet. I mean, she definitely would help me get even stronger than where I am now, and that's saying something, but honestly, greed usually comes before the fall, so I'm not sure if I really want to go after her or not. And not just her too. They're having another version of Diana, who you've probably already seen on my light team. So yeah, if I got SSR Artemis, she replaced Diana. But and I'm hearing the Dark Diana is actually pretty good too. We'll take a look at both of them. And it's funny, it's Moonlight theme, but they don't increase the rate for Tsukiyomi. Go figure. That or I don't know if Amaterasu would count for that. But anyways, getting back on point, you of course got the SSR Dolan, the SSR weapons. And I have to say this right now, but regardless of what the Adolan does, because I do go over this stuff to pretty much explain if the Adolan's worth using or not. Keyword using. But regardless of what goes on, try your best to get the SSR Adolan, even if you do not plan on using her, because we have the Adolan Orb Shop, and those Kaisers are going to take a lot of orbs. Honestly, if I wasn't stupid sitting up getting some stuff that I probably shouldn't have, I probably would have had my second Kaiser by now. But it takes 10,000 orbs, and you were at most getting 750 per copy of an Adolan sold, which would have to be a gacha SSR. An event one's only like worth 150. That said, it will take you a ton of events to get enough orbs for the Kaisers. For anybody that's a free player, you might just want to focus on one Kaiser to your strongest team. Decide right then and there which team you are going to main and get a Kaiser for that. For paying players, it's going to be a little bit easier, but even then, it's still going to take a very, very long time. So, that said, either hope you pull some extra Kaisers. In my case, I did a gacha where I got a break limit item, and instead of saving it for 100% Adolan, I used it on a Kaiser because they're not as good as 100% ones, but they definitely are second best in the game. So, that said, get the SSR Adolan as much as possible. This type of event's very good for that because you can pull extra copies of her. You can, but don't count on it without doing a very extensive amount of grinding. You want to sell as many Adolans as you can. So keep the ones you definitely are going to use. Sell the rest regardless of who they are, unless they got like a +1. And that's that. The N ones won't get you anything, but if there are an above and not an enhancement material, you will indeed get orbs. It's this very, very slow build-up, especially from the R ones, which only give you like 2 orbs per sale. But it definitely does help. But anyways, moving on to this, like I said, it's a raid event, so of course you have the typical do the quest, get the items, then you're able to go and start your own expert and Ragnarok fights eventually. Which you're going to want to do because there's also, as the new standard now, the missions where you have to do certain things. So like, core expert with an R team, and I think this Ragnarok one's with water. I'm not sure. I gotta double check when we get further down. I know for a fact that it's a team that I do not have that much strength on, so I'm not going to attempt that Ragnarok one. I might still solo it, but with my light team. But anyways, trivia. I took a peek at what she does. She increases your resistance against debuffs and such, but that's when she summon. When you're using her as a main Adolin, she increases your dark elemental attack, which automatically gives her some worth right there, but also increases the rate of double attack, just like Tiamat does. And that's the thing what it says on the wiki, double attack, not triple. So that said, it's pretty much Rush in Adolin form. And there's still a lot of up in the air about Rush, where it said, oh, it might not be good, or honestly, the increase on Rush is so small that it may not even make a difference. So honestly, I wouldn't really pass up on it too much. Especially if it was on a weapon where it's like Rush and Assault, then you probably should go after it anyways. But that's the whole thing. It's Rush on an Adolin, just like Tiamat. But unlike her, Trivia has nowhere near as many stats. So that's how it is. In fact, Trivia's stats is actually less than Horus, who we just got. I think she only hits about 1800 when you get her to level 100. Assuming you have no plus value. And of course, we're going to get a free Kamihime, of course. That's obvious. We'll look and see if she's worth it. But this SSR weapon, this is one of the ones you definitely want to go after. Especially since that it's a raid weapon, there's a good chance it might end up getting a final break later on to get that 4-star. But this one gives you Assault and Barrage. Barrage is the first time it's appeared in this game, I do believe, unless it was already on a gacha weapon. What that does is increases the triple rate up. It is still very small. Actually, it's smaller than Rush, which I think is only like maybe 1%. But even then, it's Assault and Barrage. Those weapons are always worth it. They're always worth it. You always want to try and increase your triple attack as much as possible, especially since half the increases are low as crap anyway. So, that said, this is definitely a weapon to go after. So, you want to try and get this weapon, you want to try and get this Adolin, so you're going to have to do some grinding. Thankfully, you can get both of them all the way up to full break. Like, you can get them all up to all the normal break limits just by getting 50 expert souls or divine souls, and then 55 devil souls. So from that there, you'll get all the copies of the Adolin and enough copies of the weapon to get it to 3-star. 4-star, I don't know about just yet. It might be later down the line. That's something else we'll check as well. So, because it'll tell you on this wiki if it had it. And again, SR Kamihime, you'll get her eventually. They're not too hard to really get because you only need like, I think 3, maybe 5 souls to do it. So it doesn't matter what you grind, even if you're grinding standard, you'll get her. Speaking of which, standard, of course, it's your farming tool. Simple as that. If you want to be honest, my team is strong enough to pretty much just outright smash standard with just abilities, not even buffing themselves. So, especially with Tsukiyomi, SSR Tsukiyomi will probably one-shot her. But that's the whole thing with this. It's just your grinding tool. It's not too hard, really. Unless you're pretty much just starting the game. And even then, you can get help from other players. So this is definitely a good event for pretty much anybody. But she can debuff you with a special attack. So you might want to keep that in mind, but it's not anything too worrisome, I guess. I mean, it is increasing her combo rate, and then she pretty much purges 5 things off of you. But again, you'll kill her fast. Now, experts where it starts getting interesting because she has 3.7 million, and this is the point where the bosses you fight end up getting 2 turns of charges. So without Mordred's skill or anybody else's to increase their the amount of charges it takes, you got pretty much 2 turns before you're going to get nuked. But anyways, and they don't have too much stuff on it seems like they don't have too much stuff on what the charges do. I guess they're the same between them both. But normal charge, you can get paralyzed. So you might want to watch that. But the raging charge isn't too bad. So you might want some resistance. I'm not fully sure. And then I do know that it doesn't say exact details on this, but apparently she can buff her attack when her HP starts getting lower. So you gotta watch that. That's a special move that she gets. Soul is definitely gonna be good for this fight if she doesn't get paralyzed. So that's something to know. And then it's 10 million for Ragnarok, and I'm pretty sure she probably has the same behaviors. This doesn't have as much info, and I'm pretty sure the other thing wouldn't have either, because they got blank spaces for this. But naturally, you still want to deal with whatever you can with this, because it can be very, very tricky with some of the debuffs you can do with this one. Yeah, see, from what I'm reading, here's what it does. It says all the debuffs are dealt with, meaning she's going to remove every single debuff she has on her special action, and her attack power increases. So that said, when she hits the point where that can trigger, and a lot of people start jumping in, it's going to get very annoying, just like the light catastrophe, because she'll just keep removing debuffs and keep removing debuffs, because once you hit that point, she will do it next action. But it might sit up and waste her charge instead. If she's at like full charges and then she does that move, it probably is better off than seeing yourself get nuked, because again, you'll have to deal with paralysis. So it depends. It depends. But the thing is, though, too, she can buff her defense by the looks of this. And it says runaways in there too. Paralysis you definitely want to prevent, but runaway, if I'm correct, that's rampage. So I don't know if it's going to buff her with rampage or buff your team with it. More than likely, it's probably going to buff her, which is going to increase her attack power. So you want to watch that if it does. Then Ragnarok is the same thing, basically. So if you get used to the expert fight, Ragnarok is just her with more HP and slightly more damage, depending on your debuff ability. They definitely want you to. They suggest you get Mordred for manipulating this stuff, and then of course they're suggesting Arthur and Andromeda as well on this. Personally, I'd try to toss somebody else in there that can like remove buffs or remove debuffs from you. In fact, so I know Vivian can remove debuffs and Cassiopeia can remove buffs. So those two are honestly better choices than Andromeda. But it's up to who you can really use as well. And of course, Mordred is a cornerstone soul for the light team, along with possibly Shingen and definitely Herc when you get her weapon, her relic weapon. So yeah, Mordred's go-to if you don't really have anybody else. If not, pick Vivian or Cassiopeia. That's the way I would probably do it. But for those that really got a lot of power, like I think I can get Herc's relic weapon pretty soon. I think I'm like at 25 out of 30 regalia. Then naturally do what you can do with that one. And of course, it's the same standard crap. Just go through the participation points, you'll get raid tickets. But I would try to grind these souls this time. Not just for the fact that you can get more stuff like magic jewels and all that, and definitely a lot of gacha tickets. But at this point in the game, there's a lot of stuff where you're going to really need different stuff, like the books, where you get the break limits and all that. Of course, you're going to want gems to keep farming for art materials and all that. Honestly, this is a point where you definitely want to grind these events out as much as possible. Especially with the introduction of final limit weapons, because you're going to need some more materials than just the Urchala comes to sip and get those 4-star weapons. So, that said, grind the crap out of everything you can. You're going to need it. Simple as that. And again, here's what all this stuff does, actually. But, that bow is actually pretty nice, from what I can tell. The attack power is up there. It's got barrage and assault. And then on top of that, from what I'm seeing, the burst does a defense down, which is practically the same thing as Herc's weapon. And hey, guess what? It's a bow. Herc can equip it. So that's kind of a replacement to the relic weapon if you don't have it. So yeah, that weapon's pretty strong. And of course you get assault weapons too. You get 2 of them, in fact, for SR. Because the one Kamihime comes with a water SR that gives assault. So if you happen to need them, they're there. You can get grails as well. You're always increasing weapon skills, especially now with the final breaks. Because if you got 4-star weapons, those go up to skill level 30. You're going to need those. You are definitely going to need those grails now. And there you go. It's lightning attribute, not water. But I knew it was one of the ones where my teams is weak. Because in terms of strength, my water is my weakest and my lightning is my second weakest. So I'm not attempting that. Next in line would probably be Dark, but they can at least hold their own a little bit, especially with Osiris being a healer. Fire and Wind's kind of evenly matched in my opinion, because Fire does a lot of high damage, but Wind can really get their burst up, even without Titania. So, yeah, Fire and Wind's kind of evenly matched there, and then my white team is, of course, my best. But yeah, be expert with our Kamihime. I suggest going light R because you have some very good strong ones, especially you got the limited ones, because Light Perun is actually good for this. She comes with a an ability that reduces dark damage by a lot, and it stacks with another one. So if you're using her and Joan, you're probably not taking that much damage off the next hit. But they also got some debuffers. They got a few healers. They got one that can debuff pretty well too for elemental effects. I think it was a light defense down and then a dark attack down. The dark attack might miss though. But yeah, there's some decent R girls for light. So if you're going to attempt this expert mission, try to get a light team for that. But since it's darkness, elemental advantage is only going to give you more damage dealt to the enemy. So that said, you're not taking more damage regardless. Unless somehow, some way you have a phantom effect, and that's not in the game yet. If you got that, you're hacking. But anyways, that's all for this event. I'm going to try and go into what some of this stuff does. Starting with this SR Kamihime, because she's free. Everybody's going to want to know what she does, and she's another water one. She's actually pretty cute. It says, I like Twin Tails. Now, looks like she does, like, it's 10 turns, but it's a strong nuke. Yeah, she's got 2 nukes. She's mainly an HP and barrier, but she consistently gets her HP back. That's an interesting little assist effect. It's not much, but it does give her some survivability, and that's always a good thing when you have an extra survivability in there. it says HP of ally. See, that's a strong heal and a strong barrier. But the question is it for all allies? I don't know that for sure. Because 1000 HP and a 750 barrier, that is pretty good. That is technically getting healed by 1750. And something like that on an R character is usually a solo move, not a team-wide one. So, either way, I could still see some slight use because she can do that as a redirect. So, for instance, say you don't have a Tohime, but you do have Kusanada, you can put this on Kusanada and it will still redirect, technically making something in the effect of like a Gaia's ability. Because I know Kusanada and a Tohime work very well together like that. They're like Gaia split into two people. But, I don't know. And then she's got 2 damage nukes, which isn't really too great, but... Who knows? I mean, they do some decent damage. I mean, 3 times to all enemies, that's like SR level burst. And then 5 times damage to one enemy, that's like SSR level burst. But let's face it, 10 turns is a long cooldown. I can see some use out of her, but I need to find out if this is all allies. Because if it is, that changes everything. And it is a 3-turn barrier, and she can use it every 5 turns. So, I gotta know for sure. I'll find out eventually. But the other things we're going to check out is characters that can also help you if you happen to pull them. Because I do believe they're permanently in the pool. I don't think they're going to get removed. But we're about to find out. And there's a lot of Kamihime in the game now. Yeah, she's permanent. I knew Artemis was, but Diana's definitely permanent too. And honestly, she looks cuter like this. But here's why she's actually pretty good. She can heal everybody and increase their attack power. That alone is very good. She also gives a 3% assault. Again, very good. I knew about those. This, what I didn't know about, is the fact that she has a self buff where it increases her dark attribute, meaning a dark elemental attack up. She also increases her sneak attack, which means sneak attack is pretty much critical hit. You're pretty much doing double damage if it goes off. But it says optical attribute resistance down. That means your light elemental defense is going to drop. But you can also nuke pretty hard. And it says reaction damage to yourself. I hope it's not reflect. Yeah, it's reflect. It's like 10% recoil damage. But that third skill is very strong because you heal everybody, but at the same time increase attack power by 20%. So she keeps her attack buff for the whole team, but adds a heal to it. Too bad she's darkness. She'd be very good with a light team. But, yeah. She's effectively increasing her attack power by like 50%. If you want to be honest. And everybody else gets 20%. 53 if you include the support effect. And 23 to everybody. That's why she's actually pretty good. See, this is one of the reasons why I say that some of the SR characters are actually worth it. Some of the R characters are even worth it. So, honestly, if you do not get them, if you do not get the OP SSR, you can still make teams work. In fact, my Wind R characters are also pretty decent too, from what I found out. And then there's some challenges where you're using them anyway, so why not? But this is the one that a lot of light users have been waiting for, myself included. But I don't know if I'm going to try to pull hard for her. I'll definitely miracle ticket her if I never get her. She's that strong. First off, she's giving assault to everybody. Period. She gives a large defense down, A-frame, which will replace Ziana. It is the same level of drop as, what was it? Ambush. So, you have an ambush unit right there for debuffing. She also can increase her own elemental light attack by 20%. She has a sneak attack increase, sneak attack buff as well, a 30% chance to do double damage. And her ability damage can go up by 35%. That is one hell of a self buff. And it goes in conjunction with her ability where it randomly hits enemies 8 times. It is like Susanna O's ability. Only she is really spiking her own damage for a while. If it gets the sneak attack into the mix with her light attack up and her ability damage up, this will deal crap tons of damage. This is why people love her. Along with the fact that she got a debuff for defense down. This is why people love her. Honestly, effectively with her on the team, and I don't even have the relic weapon, I could get Tsukiyomi's light resistance debuff and get sniper shot. And I hit the defense cap with that. Because it will give me a grand total of 55%. Or is it 50%? It's still going to hit the cap. I don't remember Tsukiyomi's 10% or 15%, but it definitely will hit the cap. So that said, if you get Artemis, SSR Artemis, enjoy. Enjoy. She is stupid strong from what I can tell. She hits Susanoo O level damage when it comes to ability nuking. This is one of the few Kamihime where you want to worry about abilities. And then let's face it, the debuff alone is worth it. So, like I said, she's worth it. She's definitely worth it. She will hit pretty hard. She will debuff pretty nicely. She can self-buff a lot. If you're going to self-buff, this is the way to do it. So, yeah. Only thing that's missing is maybe self-buffing attack. But anyways, that's all I got for this video, guys. Oh, wait. Not yet. Not yet. Why? There's one more thing. I just don't know if that weapon's got a 4th star. It'll be way down in the darkness. See, they separated these by element. That's kind of annoying. See, I probably gotta go back to the event. Let me backtrack. That's SSR. If I keep backtracking, I'll eventually hit the event. Okay, there we go. So this should shoot me down a little bit. There we go. This is what I wanted to see. Nope, it doesn't have a final break. Okay. But still, 3-stage. As in Barrage. Finally here. Defense down to come with it. Get this weapon. Like, even if you don't even plan on using Dark, which you might be able to get away with, get this weapon. So that said, because honestly, worst case scenario, even if you don't really plan on using this weapon, you still have a SSR that you can feed for enhancement. And just getting it to skill level 2 guarantees success on any other weapon, regardless of how high the skill levels are, even at level 29. So that's why you want it. But anyway, sorry this kind of dragged out. That's all I got for this video, guys. Again, we're going to have more Kamihime project videos to look at later, because I'll definitely try to do the Ragnarok fight. I just won't do it with the lightning. There's no way in hell I'll be able to do that with lightning. My lightning team is too weak. The Kamihime for it is pretty strong because I got Jupiter, I got Thor, I got TYR, I got Ramiel. I just don't have better Kamihime than that. But at the same time, I have a crap grid. It's not like my water team where it's like I got some decent Kamihime, but even worse grid, but I still can't use it. So that's all I got for this. More of this coming soon. And one last thing to say is the fact that I'm in the process of trying to figure out how to get my freaking Bluetooth to work on this freaking laptop. If I do, I should have a better microphone. I have Bluetooth headphones just sitting off to the side. Someone gave those to me, but I haven't used them because the Bluetooth on this freaking computer does not want to work right. I gotta figure out how to get it. Once that happens, I will test those headphones out because they have a built-in microphone, and I will see if they work. Otherwise, I'll probably end up having to buy headphones or mic or something that will connect directly to the computer, because Bluetooth is not going to cut it. Don't worry, guys. I'm looking into a better microphone, especially with me getting very close to 1,000 subs. It's definitely looking like I need to start getting more serious with this. But anyways, that's all I got for this video, guys. Take care.